Well, let's move away now to another story. This time, let's talk politics. As the race begins to find Nigeria's next president with just 418 days to go, a few political parties have proven to be at the forefront, ensuring that the country's next president isn't far off. The People's Democratic Party, PDP, has thrown its 2023 presidential ticket to all aspirants open. The decision to throw open a ticket for all comers was taken at the meeting of the party's zoning committee held at the Benue State Governor's Lodge in Asokoro, Abuja, and headed by the Benue State Governor Samuel Ortom.
Meanwhile, over 13 presidential candidates have emerged for the APC political party. Some of the aspirants, like the former governor of Lagos State, Asiwaju Bola Tinubu, governor of Kogi State, Yahaya Bello, governor of Ebonyi State, Dave Umahi, and a former governor of Abia State, Senator Orji Uzor Kalu, just to mention a few. Other political parties such as the APGA, ABGA, YPP have likewise started plans for 2023. Joining us to x-ray the political landscape this morning in Nigeria is Mark Adebayo. He's a spokesperson for Coalition of United Political Parties, CUPP. Many thanks for joining us, Mark. How would you describe the build-up to the grand presidential race so far that is coming up in February of 2023?
Well, it is, thank you so much, Oluchi and Joe. It is expected because the crescendo of political engagement will have to be going higher and higher as we move closer to the election date. That is quite expected, and it is part of the, political engagements towards the presidential election in 2023. In any case, the parties, there are certain critical internal dynamics that are playing out in all the political parties, which is going to determine eventually how they are going to pick their presidential candidates. And you can see the rush from both parties, especially the party in power, the APC and the PDP, and other political parties too. People are now moving very fast. Let me collect my form. Let us begin to all the discussions about zoning, about whatever, can then meet them along the way. So, but the first thing is to secure the ticket of their, the forms, collect the forms, and then begin to prepare for the primaries. Whatsoever methodology each party is going to use, can then meet the. But because the most critical issue at the moment among political parties is the issue of zoning, and it's very, very sensitive. You understand? I think eventually that probably will be the determinant factor in what methodology, what kind of primary that each of the political parties will use and then we apply at the end of the day, or who will emerge as the presidential candidate of each of the political parties. It's a very critical factor. Right. We cannot run away from it.
Okay. What is your take on the number of candidates vying for the presidential seat, the presidential position, especially when you look at the APC? They're numbering close to about 15. With names that are indeed, many have called them powerhouses. And now you also look, as at this morning, PDP also looking very closely to 15.
Yeah. You see, look, the number doesn't really matter. It's the quality that matters. And let them, the more the merrier. Probably even if they have up to 100 each, at least Nigerians we have, and political party members we have more than enough choices to pick from. So the more the merrier. The people have democratic right to pick whoever they want to pick within their parties, whatever methodology that each of the parties are using. APC, for instance, you can see that, like you said, there are a lot of powerhouses coming up, But you see, age might play a critical factor on who emerges from each of the political parties. APC, for instance, has the youngest governor in Nigeria, Yahaya Bello, gunning for the presidency, and you can see the kind of crowd is pulling and the rest of that. He stands because of his age, because of this new craving for a younger person to lead Nigeria might play well in his favor. And being the chairman of a committee that was bringing in new members to the party for the past 2 years, they have probably about 24 million members now, and then he is responsible for about 40 to 50% of all the new members. All the members, probably up to 80% of the new members that came into the party. So he's well known. You see his declaration last Saturday. You can see how about 22,000 crowd as reported by the media. Now he's going to he probably will be the man to beat in the APC because of the kind of moves and the things that I'm seeing already in that party. So it's not going to be a pushover. People who thought he was joking are now beginning to see that this guy means serious business. And then look at the kind of caliber of people he put in this presidential campaign. Of course, there are other power players within the party, but his age is likely going to work in his favor because close to 60% of the total members of the about 24 million membership of APC are young people below the age of 40. And this youthfulness thing is going to play a major role. For the PDP, you can see there are also critical internal dynamics. Now they've thrown open the presidential race, so the issue of zoning has been removed. APC is likely going to go in that direction because when you zone, you have excluded some part of the country and they might have developed their own crisis. So the wisdom dictates, political wisdom and stratagem dictates that each of the political parties just throw it open. That's democracy. And once you say, oh, it's going to this zone, the other zone will feel marginalized and they are likely to decamp from the party en masse or work against the party internally in the elections. So PDP has made a smart move. I'm sure APC will make a smart move too, because you are not going to marginalize some people, you are not going to sort of pre-disqualify some people because of some religious, ethnic, and other sentiments that have no bearing in democracy. You understand me? So the overwhelming majority of opinion, the overwhelming gamut of opinion in Nigeria today is for a younger generation to emerge Nigeria's president come 2023, wherever part of the country he might come from. I mean, that is the wise thing to do, because our research experiences have shown that this country needs a zoning, a kind of zoning, to generational zoning, a zoning to the younger generation. It's not about geopolitical zoning. It's about zoning, generational zoning to the younger generation of Nigerians who are giving a good account of themselves in this country and outside and in the diaspora. So the overwhelming of opinion, if there will be zoning, I will support generational zoning to the younger generation to become Nigeria's president.
All right. Mark, we might need to interrupt you at this point because we're down to the last minute, and there's a crucial part of this campaign and the election that is coming up, and we're talking about the spending limit on for political candidates. Now, we do understand that the spending limit has been increased to up to 400%. So, take for example, anyone who's coming out from your party, coming out for vying for that political for the seat of the president, has a spending limit that has been raised from 1 billion naira to 5 billion naira. What do you have to say about the increment in the spending limit of politicians?
Look, the law is the law, but let me tell you, the reality speaks otherwise. Look, nobody, that provision of the law, even when it was 1 billion, had never been complied with by any candidate in this country. Because, sincerely speaking, to run for the presidency of Nigeria today, you can't spend less than 200 billion. Wow. Then how do we monitor that? Who monitors that? The thing is that what the candidates will do is that they will spend within their limits of 5 billion, but their friends, their cronies, their supporters are likely going to spend on their behalf. So they are likely to comply with that section of the law that you, as a person, as a candidate, cannot spend more than this, but you cannot stop your friends and supporters from spending on your behalf, doing avatorials on behalf, doing rallies on your behalf, and so on and so forth. Buying vehicles on your behalf, putting your pictures and the rest of that. That money is not coming directly from either you personally or from your campaign organization. It's coming from people that are outliers within the political structure that you have put up as your campaign organization. So the law, there's always a way to maneuver around the law. But let me tell you, nobody in the history of this country, for instance, 2023 now, you don't have some 200 or 300, even 500 billion somewhere, or people who can support you. You say 5 billion. Even with 5 billion, you cannot win state government. I'm talking from field experience. You cannot win your state governorship. So what the candidates do is that they allow their supporters to support them financially. Yeah, that is the fact. And that is where the argument and the debate about youth involvement in politics comes in. Look at how much they are selling their forms now. But of course, some of the parties, I think the APC and Co. have said, okay, they are going to give preference to women, youths, and physically challenged people. And that is where we are going. Nigeria's politics is heavily monetized. And the hardly are the Nigerian people, not only the political class, I don't like using that term, political class, all of us are in the political class, whether you are contesting or not. The issue is that the people who are running for office should not be held responsible for the heavy monetization. They are not solely responsible for the heavy monetization and clientelism of Nigerian politics. The Nigerian people, the Nigerian voters must ourselves de-emphasize the issue of asking for money before we vote for a particular candidate or party. Once we de-emphasize that, the monetization, and we go for quality and not for the money. You don't sell, you don't mortgage 20 years ahead of time with 5,000 naira only on election day that you finish spending in that one day. Let us begin to emphasize on the issue of quality of leadership, their patriotism, their commitment to the areas of justice, human rights, the economic development, and of course, financial and social empowerment of the Nigerian people and the unity of the country. These are the things that we have to look out for, not for money. And then I like the fact that the president said his party admonished his party, APC, that do not give the ticket to the highest bidder. And I love that. So that some money buyers will not come and just hijack the party, hijack the structures, and then become president. And what happens? He begins to look for how to recoup his investment. And that is what happens, and that is why Nigeria is walking backwards. And we have to find a way, a younger person to move this country forward. Committed, patriotic, intelligent, well-educated, obeying. That's the kind of leadership that we want now. Somebody can give redirection to Nigeria towards development. Nigeria is supposed to be the best in Africa.
All right, thank you so much.
To interrogate those issues.
Thank you so much, Mark Adebayo, spokesperson for CUPP. We truly appreciate your presence here. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you so much for having me.